Hello, ladies. So now we are in Chapter 2, Delivering Your Message. This chapter will challenge you to develop natural and confident body language and vocal qualities. When you complete this chapter, you will be able to use appropriate body language, use effective vocal characteristics, use notes effectively, plan, prepare, and present a speech about a memorable personal experience. Let's start with using your body language. Body language means posture, eye contact, facial expressions, and gestures. Your body language, as well as your speech patterns, reflects how you feel about yourself. It also affects how others react to you. It can help you project an aura of confidence, or it can make you appear uncertain before you. Even open your mouth. Next comes your posture. Your posture says a lot about you. It can say, "I'm timid. Don't listen to me. Just ignore me." Or it can say, "Listen to me. I know what I am talking about." Certain postures give the impression that you are ashamed and insecure. These include looking down or dropping your chin, tilting your head to one side, rounding your shoulders, wrapping your arms around your body, clasping your hands tightly in front of you. The next important aspect is your eye contact. Eye contact customs vary from culture to culture. In some cultures, it's customary for people to lower their eyes when speaking with authority figures such as parents, bosses, or government officials. However, the reverse is true in the United States. In this culture, making eye contact is an essential part of effective communication. Good eye contact does the following: shows you are sincere and honest. Looking away often conveys insincerity or embarrassment. Indicates you have confidence in yourself and what you are saying. Encourages listeners to pay attention to you and to respect you. Allows you to see your listeners' reactions to your speech. Their nods, gestures, and smiles tell you they understand and are interested in your message. Note that effective eye contact does not mean staring at a person. It means shifting your focus to and from a person's eyes. The second most important aspect is to use your voice effectively when you are speaking before an audience. Careful control of your volume, rate of speech, phrasing and pausing, and pronunciation will help your audience understand your message and stay involved in your speech. Volume refers to how loud or soft your voice is. There are two common problems with volume. Some speakers never vary their volume, causing them to sound monotonous. Other speakers speak too softly, so it is difficult to hear them. Aim to vary your volume to keep your listeners' attention, and to speak loudly enough so that everyone in the room can hear you. The third important aspect is making notes. A traditional memory aid is to write your main points and brief notes on index cards. When preparing a speech, write only keywords or short phrases on the cards to help you. Remember your points. Use one card for each part of your speech. Write on only one side of each card. Number the cards. If you accidentally drop them, you will quickly be able to put them in the correct order. Write your notes in large letters. It should be easy to glance at the notes quickly without losing your place. To emphasize key words, use underlining, capital letters, or other marks. The last but not the least aspect is practice. Once your presentation is ready, practice well and make several rehearsals until you become fully confident. Have in mind practice makes you perfect. You may practice before a mirror or record in your mobile phone and check for improvement. Always bear in mind a well-prepared speech is half done. Now, let's watch a model
Imagine arriving in
presentation
a
about
bustling
an
new city where
exceptional
every
experience.
street and building is unfamiliar. This was my experience, stepping into a place where I knew no one and nothing. Guess the city. It's London, the world's favourite tourist destination. This happened last vacation when my dad took us for a week-long tour to the UK. The very next day after arrival, my whole family was sleeping up till noon, being tired from the long flight from Dammam to London. The hotel we stayed was around 2 kilometres from the city of London. When I was watching the city through the window, I found the famous hip-hop bus passing by. I decided to explore the city alone, and so left the hotel and took a ticket and joined the others in the bus. First, we visited Madame Tussauds, the museum with wax models. After that, we reached the popular attraction, the London Eye. It was here I got lost. I missed the bus and was all alone near the London Eye. Suddenly, my heart was filled with fear and panic. Very soon, the feeling of being lost was overwhelming. The city seemed like a maze, with its busy streets and towering skyscrapers. But as I wandered, I began to see the beauty in the chaos. Each turn led to a new discovery, a hidden cafe, a vibrant market, a serene park. Being lost in a new city taught me the value of exploration and curiosity. Unfortunately, my mobile was out of power. It pushed me out of my comfort zone and forced me to engage with the surroundings in ways I had never had before. I learned to navigate using landmarks. I asked for directions and learned to appreciate the kindness of strangers. Finally, the name of the hotel flashed in my mind. A kind woman took me to the hotel in her bicycle. This experience also taught me resilience. There were moments of frustration and doubt, but each challenge was an opportunity to grow and adapt. I realized that being lost is not about the destination, but about the journey and the lessons learned along the way. In the end, being lost in a new city was a transformative experience. It reminded me that sometimes we need to lose our way to find ourselves. It's in these moments of uncertainty that we discover our true strength and potential. That's all, gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed my talk. Try this experiment when you visit a new city and face the challenge. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you once again.
Now comes the second one. My Journey to Freedom by Francisco.
Listen to Francisco's model presentation. Pay attention to his organization and vocal characteristics.
Do you think it's possible to have an experience that is dangerous, happy, sad, uncomfortable, and very scary at the same time? I had one, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. 3 years ago, when I was 18, I escaped from Cuba with my 14-year-old brother, Jose. My father wanted us to live in a free country, get a good education, and have many opportunities. In Cuba, there was no hope for a good future. My father took me and Jose to the beach in the middle of the night and put us on a raft. Before we pushed off, he photographed the raft and said, "I will keep my fingers crossed that you will arrive safely." Our father told us it would take 3 days to reach a city in Florida called Key West. For 3 days, Jose and I were all alone in the ocean without food or water. Sharks were swimming all around us. The waves were very high and splashed over us. I thought we were going to starve, drown, or be eaten by the sharks. I comforted my brother by telling him how much better our lives would be when we finally got to Florida. I made myself feel better by thinking that one day I would go to heaven and meet my parents there. Finally, by some miracle, someone contacted the U.S. Coast Guard about us. The water was too rough for them to reach us in a boat, so they rescued us in a helicopter. Relatives of ours in Miami were notified by the immigration authorities. Our aunt and uncle picked us up in Key West, and we went to live with them in Miami. After 2 years, Our parents finally escaped from Cuba also, and we saw them again. That was a very happy day for me. Now that you know my experience, I think you can understand why it was scary, sad, dangerous, uncomfortable, and finally, happy, all at the same time. Even though our journey was risky, I'm glad we decided to do it. If we hadn't, I wouldn't be here today in this free and wonderful country talking to all of you. Thank you for listening.
Now comes the last one, Layla's presentation on a stinging experience.
Listen to Layla's model presentation.
In my hands, I have a jar of honey. If you look closely, you can see part of the beehive in the jar. You are probably wondering why I brought a jar of honey to show you today. Every time I see honey, I am reminded of a stinging experience I had when I was in the 6th grade. As a child, I grew up on a farm not far from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. One warm summer day, my friend and I were walking home from school. We happened to see a beehive in a tree. We had just studied in school about bee colonies and how bees make honey. This was my big chance to show off to my mother and father what I had learned in school. It looked easy. I searched for a stick and found one about 2 meters long. I handed it to my friend and told her to sneak up to the tree and hit the hive with the stick. I said I would wait until the bees came out, and then I would grab the hive and run away with it. I soon learned a very important lesson. I learned that things don't always work out the way you planned them. My friend pushed the hive down from the tree and then hurried off at full speed. The bees did not go after her. However, they were all over me instantly. They stung my arms. They flew down my blouse and stung me. They flew up my skirt and stung me. They got in my hair and stung me. My parents carried me to the hospital. I stayed there for 2 days until my fever was gone. Oh, I wish I had looked before I leaped. That was the first and last beehive I ever touched. I have never approached a beehive again, and never will. I'm sure you can see how this jar of honey I brought to show you reminds me of a very stinging experience. Keep your fingers crossed that you never get stung by a bee.
So, that's all for this chapter. Now it's your turn. Prepare a speech describing your exceptional personal experience. Your challenge is to make the audience relive the experience with you. For example, if you had a happy experience, try to make your listeners feel happy. If you had a sad experience, try to make them feel sad. If you had a scary experience, try to make them feel afraid. If you had a funny experience, try to make them laugh. Strive to speak naturally and maintain eye contact with your listeners. You should not write out the speech and read it. Instead, you will write your main ideas on cards and consult them as you speak. Practice well, and all the best.